everybody, you're watching Mr. Fugu Data Science. Today we're sending data from Python to MongoDB. This is a continuation. As always, the code will be in the link in the description below. Purpose and outcome, we need to make a connection from Python to Mongo. Then I will show 3 examples of how we convert a file, such as a text file, a pickle object file, and a string of text blob, and send those to MongoDB. Now, you need to import PyMongo and pandas. Create a connection where you call PyMongo.MongoClient with the M and the C capitalized, and then whatever you're connecting to. For me, it's the localhost. I don't have a dedicated server or website. Now, you need to connect to your database that you're interested in, and if it's not created, it'll create it for you, as well as the collection. Now, this caller file that we're going to investigate first, which is your text file, and I'll do a pandas read CSV to call this file in. Alright, now let's look at what these data look like. I created previously a data set where you have credit card, a CPU, and its purchase date. Okay? In order to interface with MongoDB and send data, it needs to be in either a dictionary or some form of JSON. Okay? So let's convert our file first, where I would say converted CPU dictionary will be the variable name, and I'm going to call a pandas data frame and convert that to a dictionary, and take our CPU sales, and we can see what that looks like. Oh wow, that's interesting. What's going on with this thing? Well, we need to take care of that because that comes from this column here, which is our row IDs. So you need to do an orient equals, and then you need to say records. And there you go. That'll print out perfect. That's what you want. Okay. Now how do we deal with these data? Well, just like in regular Mongo, you call the DB dot and then your collection name. And so mine will be my CPU sales table. And I'm doing an insert of mini. And I need to call in our dictionary that we just created and send that off. And that's what it looks like. But how do we know what anything looks like or how much we sent? So we just sent 5,800 rows. Now, this is the new version, where the old version was just count, like in regular Mongo. So pay attention to that. And we could query and see what these data actually look like. So we'll do a find one so I don't print everything off. And here it goes. So you have your credit card, a CPU, and a purchase date. And as always, it creates a unique ID for us for each document that was inserted. Wonderful. Let's deal with our pickle file now. So if you're interested, this is how you create a pickle file. I just dumped our CSV file into a pickle so we have something to work with. So you basically just do panda.dataframe to pickle whatever data frame and the name of what you're calling. So let's read this in, and I'll have to do let's call it pickle, I don't know, pickle convert. And then we'll do a pandas dot, and then we need to read our pickle file. Let's see what that looks like. Here we go. So we know that it reads in perfectly. And as always, we need to convert this file formatting. Alright, so let's convert these data as we did prior. So then now I need to say pickle convert, and then I'm going to call a dictionary again. So I got to do pandas data frame, convert that data frame to a dictionary, call in our data, and remember to do orient equals and then records so it's in the correct formatting. Now we send our data off where we do our database dot collection name, which would be CPU sales table, if I'm correct. Yep. Then I need to insert mini once more, send off our data, and there we are. Now let's pay attention to something. Let's count how many rows we have. Well, I just doubled it. I appended everything. If you want to see something interesting, on the fly, we can create a collection to send our data to. Alright, so let's view that. And there you go. So pay attention when you're calling these, because you may create something new that was unnecessary, or if you spelled it incorrectly. So that's something to pay attention to. Now let's take our string text blob, and first I'm going to create that real quick. So then let's look at what this would be. How do you deal with this? So then I'll do a pandas data frame, and then I'll just convert it to a string. And I'm taking our CPU sales. What's that look like? Okay. So imagine this data was something you web scraped or were giving a raw text file. That's where this will come in handy. So then let's strip this and see how that's going to work. Okay, that looks a little bit better. But then what do we want to do here? Well, let's see if we could process this a little more. And let's split it on the new line. Ooh, that looks like it's getting pretty good. Seems like we're almost there, right? Well, yes and no. Let's find out how far we can go with this. Let's just create a new variable name where I'm taking all of this and I want to start iterating. So let's create an empty list and iterate through this weird variable name OO. And I want to append to this list and do a string join, and then let's do a split on our string and see what this looks like. Huh, that looks a little off. Let's do something with this. Okay, let's try to split again. Okay, what's going on with this? Well, there we go. But here's an issue. Right here, if you didn't pay attention to this, you create a data frame, you're going to have 3 extra columns. Well, actually 2 extra columns. But this is split when it should be one string. And the reason it was split is because each one of these words is split on a space. You can process this in 2 ways. You can create this data frame, exclude these column names right here, and then these 3 columns, create 1 column from it, or use regular expressions to deal with this. But there's actually an easier way. Now, let's take these data and let's do something real quick. Let's get rid of this right here. So let's do an index equals false. Okay? So you won't see it yet, but let's create this variable name. So we're going to do text, and let's call it df2string. All right? And we need to take a new variable that we're going to store as new underscore and do a list comprehension. So you're going to first split your data based on that space, and then you're going to iterate that through your text to string, and you're going to split that on your new lines, okay? And then from there, we're going to create a generic list of VV, so we iterate through our new underscore string or list comprehension, and that's append to that list, okay? So we're saying let's create a new list where we filter that list and we're taking out anything that is a empty string. And let me show you what that looks like. So here's the empty strings that we're filtering out, okay? Now, what we need to do is say, let's take VV, which is this, but this looks kind of weird, right? This looks wrong. This looks like what we had above. Well, you need one more space, so you need 2 instead of 1. And there, that's what you need. So we're pretty much on the ball. So let's take our text df that I'm naming, and I'm going to create a data frame. Now, I want to take everything after this label right there. All right, that's our actual data that we're going to use. Now I need to also take my columns, and my columns are going to equal what? Let's call the credit card, the CPU, and our purchase date. Okay? Now, what do we do with this? Let's print this off and make sure it looks fine and dandy. Perfect. We're on a roll. Now let's do like we did every other time. Let's convert this thing into a dictionary. So let's do dictionary, df text, and then our panda data frame again, and then to dictionary. Call our data orient equals records, and then we're going to send it off as usual. So we're doing a db dot, and then let's find our trusty old CPU sales table, since I already forgot. So let's send that off, and then let's insert many of our dictionary text. As always, let's make sure that this worked. This is supposed to be where I queried, but oh well. And then let's find one. Perfect, it worked. And then let's count it, and it just appended to the end again. I would like to say thank you for watching this video. I hope it brought utility to somebody. Please subscribe and turn on that notification bell. Throw me a comment and tell me what interests you, or if you have any topics that you would like to see, or let me know what I could do better. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye.